Hello there folks, Torpid back at it once again. It's actually been quite a hiatus from me, even though you guys wouldn't be able to tell that, because, you know, upload schedules, which is great and all, but the unfortunate thing is finally I'm falling behind on my upload schedule, and that's because I've had a chest infection that got a little bit worse and is still lingering. So if the commentary for this video and the next, I don't even know how many, because this thing is taking forever to dissipate, is a bit subpar, then that would be why. And if you hear me disappearing for about 10 seconds after a sentence, then that is also probably why, because I'm muting so that I can take a rather big inhale, which inevitably will not be a full inhale. Anyway, whatever. Enough war. We got Typhus playing as the Warhammer Alpha, and we got Flintstone rocking the bro crap. Flintstone being very brave here because he's playing the Order Malleus and he's only going for a 2-unit opening against the Tyranids, who are notorious for the strength of their early game. So let's see how we can handle it, shall we? There you go, I needed to take a breath right there. Isn't that shocking? It's really quite terrible. So we're back with Prodigy Typhus being questionable in his execution of players. I'm not sure why the Hormagaunts chose to just sit there and cap through the fire and end up being forced off when they could have just pulled away, rotated to the mid VP and caught that, but there you have it. And the Strike Squad's trying to do a little bit of delay here. Of course, if they're in the green cover with the, well, yellow cover, sorry, with their heavy infantry armour, they'd be able to outshoot the Termagants very well. At least even if they lost the fight, they'd kill some of the Termagants prior to losing a model. But with the assistance of the Warhammer Alpha there going into melee, maybe a bit of good luck there from the Termagants, they managed to kill a Strike Squad model quite fast there. You see the Hormagaunts are back on the field now, capping the mid VP. You see this could have happened ages ago. They didn't have to retreat so soon. A little bit odd that Flintstone chose to prioritise the wreck here and not go for the VP. We'll see if that ends up biting him in the arse later, because even if he does cash this natural requisition, sorry, this natural VP point, which the Warhammer Alpha could have put some pressure on, he would be at the 2-to-1 because of the central VP going to Typhus. So he's basically, he's going to be bleeding quite a lot of VPs, and you can see that at the top already he is down 50 VPs, and he's going to keep losing VPs for quite some time. But let's see, we've got the Termagants here being mismicroed and potentially probably going to die to the Stormbolters. Didn't see ya, didn't see the Strike Squad chasing them. And looking at that HP bar down here, looks like the Termagants get away. The Strike Squad stopped pursuing. Don't know if they pursued it, they stopped pursuing a little bit early or what the crack was there. It's going to be a Warrior Squad coming out first for Typhus and Interceptors coming out first for Flynn. The Interceptors feels like they're necessary if you want to deal with Bab Strangler Warrior Brood. But if you're dealing with normal melee Warrior Brood, it doesn't really feel like the Interceptors are a great choice. Oh, but this is great for Flynn. We're seeing the Bab Strangler Warrior Brood straight away. I wouldn't have got that if I was Typhus. Why get that so early? We don't even have double sacks or the adrenal glands on the Hormagaunts, so that power could have been distributed into them, and I really feel like these guys would have been just as effective with their melee loadout. Because of course now the Interceptors are just going to jump them. Now we didn't know that Interceptors were coming, but well, I don't know. I mean, what is the Bar Strangler countering? There's only one range squad. It's not like he's fighting double IST or triple IST. In fact, Flynn sometimes like quadruple. If he was facing a build like that, then no doubt I would go for the Bar Strangler, but he isn't, so he's going to have to figure out how to deal with the Interceptors. Now, he could get a second Warrior Squad, keep that with the normal variant, you know, got a bit of power melee there, and more importantly the knockback and the destruction. Could pick up the crippling talons on the Warhammer Alpha, but he may want to just wait to tier 2 so he can get the acid splatter, which generally is a much better weapon to deal with those annoying heavy infantry Grey Knights. But of course that's tier 2, and the threat is here right now in tier 1. Looking at the compositions right now, it'd be pretty powerful for Flynn to follow up with a Purgation Squad. Purgation Squad normally are amazing against the Gaunts because of the AoE damage of the Incinerators, but they get shut down by Warriors in either variant. But given there is only a Bab Strangler Warrior, you know, you can just jump that with the interceptors and then the purgation can move in and deal with the gaunts. But it looks like it's going to be crippling talons coming out here for Typhus. You see here the bow stranglers blobbing up the termagants. Pretty poor play really from Typhus there. Shouldn't be engaging with the bow stranglers literally stood on top of the termagants. Just to split them up a little bit. We've also got the Toxic Miasma, going to increase the max HP of the Ravener by 50, and gives a nice little AoE damage ability. It is only piercing damage, so not amazing against Grey Knights, and also Grey Knights aren't that numerous in their model count, so you know, it's okay. Again, it's okay. It's not amazing, but it's something. The max HP is nice, I suppose. I probably wouldn't have got this in tier 1. I'd have probably gone for the armor that gives you knockback immunity. Reinforced Chitin, I believe it's called. That would be quite helpful when you're going into melee with Grey Knights. You know that they're quite renowned for their special attack capabilities. No upgrades. Oh, I'm wrong. There is an upgrade here on the Brother Captain, the Blessed Aegis. That would be very effective against the Bow Stranglers as well. Probably going to see the classic build here of Blessed Aegis, Unending Purge accessory for more durability, and then the Halberd in tier 2, which doesn't drain any energy, so then it synergizes with the shield that Blessed Aegis provides, as you can see there from the tooltip. Bit of a banishment coming out there from the strike squad, but not really to an avail. It was a bit of an awkward engagement, and interceptors in general way too low on HP. I mean, he's fighting the entire Tyranid army of 5 units here because, wow, there is a triple Termagant brood. Huh. Maybe a bit of limit testing here for Flynn. For Typhus, sorry. Now, historically, the triple Termagants was really good alongside a Bow Strangler, but it's because prior to that... Whoa, Hom got a special attack. How often do you see that? Yeah, the special. You don't see that very often because they've only got 55 melee skill. So they can only really special against ranged units, but ranged units generally don't stick around to melee them. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Triple Termagants used to be good because Interceptor's teleport didn't do knockback in tier 1. So just imagine you're teleporting into the Bow Strangler, it doesn't do knockback, they just walk away. You've got 3 crippling talons to cycle. But because the Interceptors aren't doing knockback, they don't get many hits on the Bow Strangler warriors after they teleport in, so basically you just can't force off the Bow Strangler and then they end up suppressing your Interceptors even after 2 jumps, and it's a nightmare. But now the Interceptors do knockback on their teleport, and there is the Blessed Aegis Brother Captain who can't be suppressed by the Bow Strangler and is really tanky, who can just walk in and tie up the Bow Strangler. So this build, I'm not sure. Maybe he felt like he wants another Termagant to help focus fire the Brother Captain, but whilst the Brother Captain is in this tier 1 state with no actual weapon upgrades, which is not going to be for too long, but it was for a long period of this game, you can actually counter him better in melee. That's going to be tricky now because he's going for the Nemesis Demon Hammer, which is interesting because it has a little bit of anti-synergy with the Aegis in that if you use the strike, as you've seen just there, it drains your energy, so you're making your Aegis shield weaker. I don't think he can get the cap here. It's going to be close. Like oh, okay. I was going to say he can get the cap, but then he's probably going to get killed in retreat. But he used the Sanctified Global to give himself energy, though it was a little bit late, because he ended up taking a lot of damage. Oh my god, can these Hormagaunts get the attack? They're just leaping. They're not actually getting melee attacks, they're just leaping forward and it doesn't do a lot of damage. Ooh, one of them got the attack. Wow, dropped them down to 10 HP. One more melee attack there would have taken out the Brother Captain. Strike Squad now got their Justicar. That's going to give a HP boost to all the models in the squad, as well as a nice fancy power sword to dice up the warrior brood if they can get into melee. Still no armor upgrades there. Because they got the Justicar, the banishment is now doing twice as much damage. Wow, this is optimistic. Puts the Mind Blades there on the Strike Squad to increase their damage to try and kill the Ravener, but Typhus, fortunately for him, did retreat in time, so he's going to be just fine. Interceptors are the other ones going down this side of the map. I'm noticing Flynn again leaving his natural VP to put pressure onto the wreck point, leaving the BC to come out and take it, but he's draining a lot of VPs. You know, map control wise, in terms of everything but the VPs, he's actually doing very good right now, and of course he's putting on the pressure with this Razorback, though he does need to get back because of the presence of the Venom Brood now in the field. But I just find it odd, you know, that he's seeding these VPs so freely. I mean, he's completely carefree. But he's down over 200 VPs right now, and against Tyranids, which have so many units and so much speed, it's quite a scary prospect. I don't really think I'd be doing that if I was Flynn. But I'm not Flynn, and Flynn doesn't flinch at the thought of being down 225 VPs on his opponent. Rhino did manage to get out of there. He's got a nice stockpile of resources actually. I wonder what his next purchase will be. I can imagine both the Purifier Squad or the Ordo Malleus Librarian would be pretty good right now. Yeah, I don't actually know which should be better really. Yeah, they're both very, very strong in this matchup. You get that Ordo Malleus Librarian and you're gonna have quite good melee superiority with the Might of the Titan AoE buff that he can apply. Got Sanctuary for knockback on the man as well. Doesn't get suppressed just like the BC, so you can deal with these Bow Stranglers. You know, I'm just constantly self-aware of how much I'm talking about things that counter the Bow Stranglers. I really do have to question that choice here for Typhus. And you can see here, these 3 Grey Knight units are just absolutely wrecking the entire Tyranid force. I mean, okay, we've got Hormagaunts and Termagants here, but these things don't even have upgrades. Okay, the Termagants do, but Hormagaunts don't. So I really don't think they'd be contributing too much. Now these Termagants pretty poorly positioned here, ending up losing a lot of models in retreat as well. I'm not sure if they've got Endless Swarm, probably not. So that's going to be quite a lot of bleed. Probably want to purchase the Endless Swarm if they can pretty soon. But I don't know what the priority is for Typhus. Typhus right now is really struggling. Okay, they do have Endless Swarm, so that's something at least. It wasn't quite as much bleed as otherwise would have been the case. But man, look at the Venom Brood. 3 models, but they're super low on HP, so they're going to be healing in base for quite some time. And Flynn's going to take the opportunity to go tier 3. This is a weird game. It's not often I would really be recommending an army which has so few units in comparison to their opponents going tier 3 when they're so far behind on VPs, but in spite of the fact he's got so few units, Flynn is managing to win the army versus army fights quite convincingly. And, you know, you might say, oh, well, Tyranid units aren't as powerful as other factions. And no, of course not, and that's why they have so many. But I really think it's a matter of not Tyranids being weak, but rather this composition of Typhus being really weak against what it has to fight right now. Lack of Gene Stealers to counter-initiate the Interceptors in Tier 2 with the Strike Squad is weird. Bow Strangler Warrior Brood is doing absolutely nothing. Now he's got the Thorax Swarm now, which gives him access to the Electroshock Grubs. So if you can execute some sort of flank attack on the Rhino with the Warriors coming in from the side, perhaps with some Rippers, and the Venom Brood pushing the Rhino into the Arc of Fire of the Warrior Brood, then you can hit the Electroshock Grub and maybe take it out. But in general, I think this is going to be rough. Now, this is a good position here against the Interceptors. Suppresses them and then hits them with the Crippling Talon. Wow, what a beautiful Psych-Out Grenade thus. Actually, suppresses the entire Tyranid blob here, and then a nice Demolishing Strike with the Strike Squad getting into melee combat with the Venom Brood, and they kill one of the models, proccing a nice Synaptic Backlash right there. They need to turn around now and get some specials on these Hormagaunts. Let's see, Strike Squad. Where are they? They're down here. You can see their HP. They're not proccing specials. Not proccing specials, and that is actually problematic for them. They're gonna wipe. Wow. Oh wow. That was another Demolishing Strike. Killing a lot of Hormagaunts. The Razorback actually managing to finish off the other Hormagaunt there. Maybe gonna lose the BC. Have we got a Sanctified to give him more shield? No, we don't. We now see Bulwark coming out of the BC. And oh, the Holy Armor of Titan. Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, Flynn's tier 3, but I'm... Okay, Flynn, what are you doing? I'm really questioning why he has gone tier 3 to purchase a couple of pieces of war gear. One piece of war gear that he had access to in tier 1. Okay, now he's getting a Vortimer Razorback. I would be going for Terminators here. You already have a Razorback, and he's already got a bit of AV. Yes, this AV is not killing the Razorback, as we just seen in front of our eyes, so I'm not saying that the Vortimer is countered by these. It's not. To counter a Vortimer properly, or any tank as the Tyranids, you're going to need either... You're going to need Venom Brood and double zone throw-ups, or you're going to need a Venom Cannon Carnifex, which of course is not on the field yet. But Typhus is actually tier 3 now as well, so it might not be that long till a Venom Cannon Carnifex will come out of the field. Either way, I'll be going for Grey Knight Terminators. There's definitely no counter to them. You've seen how the other melee units of the Grey Knights have been putting in so much work there, at least when they're not sent in and they're running against multiple enemy units. Missing the opportunity for the Electroshock rub here. It really feels like Flynn is letting up his micro. Oh, but here comes the Vortimer. Maybe it was a bait. Was that a bait? I don't know. Get the flank from the Vortimer. That is a lot of DPS coming out right now. Termagants, I don't know why they're here. Maybe a bit of a micro error there for Typhus. He also kept his Ravener Alpha in too long. And that is too much range DPS on retreat path. It's going to be a wiped Termagant squad in addition to the Ravener that went down earlier in that fight. Let's see how much XP. Oh my god, that's a lot of XP on the Vortimer Razorback that has just come onto the field. Very good for that Vortimer Razorback. Now you do the classic combo. If you Flynn, you get the Terminators and a tank. It works for Loyalist Space Marines, it works for Chaos Space Marines, it works for the Ordo Malleus. It's a very tough thing to deal with, because you need such differing tools to counter both of those threats, and then they themselves can counter the counters for the other thing, if that makes any sense. You know, you get the Venom Cannon Carnifex to counter the Vortimer Razorback, but then you've got a really tanky Brother Captain and potentially some Terminators who can just tie up the Venom Cannon Carnifex and do pretty good damage to it in melee. Because Flynn is the BC, he has the option of the Paladins as well, which actually would do even better against the Venom Cannon Carnifex than normal Terminators, since they're heavy melee, not power melee. So that would be an option for him as well, and then he could buff them up with the Bulwark too. Looks like we had a without number. I'm not sure really where they were called in. So tier 3 global for the Tyranids, get some fully upgraded Hormagaunts and Termagants for a pretty cheap price. I note that we've also got the Corrosive Devourer as well in the Ravener offer. A bit weird to not see any armor upgrades here for the Ravener Alpha. I mean, Typhus has a lot of power, so I think the Regenerate armor is kind of no-brainer. I understand not getting in tier 2 because I believe it's 50 power, it might be 40. It's a lot of power. So not getting in tier 2 makes a lot of sense. He needs to get his Carnifex train coming out to deal with these Vortimer Razorbacks, but not getting in tier 3 when you're floating this much power is a little bit strange. That said, he also wouldn't be floating so much power if he didn't go for the without number, because then he'd have, what, an extra 350 requisition or something? God, he could nearly get a Swarm Lord in that case. So again, a bit of a strange choice there from Typhus. I don't know why he's using that without number. It wasn't like he was super low on VPs. It wasn't like he had no gaunts. He already had 2 squads of Termagants, so I find that strange. I find it less strange that Flynn is opting for a second Vortimer. You know, he's already got a Razorback and a Vortimer and they're doing very well. So if you've got something very good, then I'm not surprised that you'd want to get more things very good. However, I think it is a strategic error because he isn't diversifying his composition. That which is going to be effective against one Vortimer will generally be somewhat effective against 2. As I said earlier, the beauty of the Vortimer Terminator combo is the things that counter the Vortimer you can counter with Terminators, and the things that counter the Terminators you can counter with the Vortimer. But he's just going to bully his way through here, utilising the smoke as well. Smoke right now is so powerful. I've been mildly campaigning to have it nerfed. It's one of the things that makes the Space Marines and the Ordo Malleus Rhino Razorback players so strong. It reduces outgoing and incoming damage exponentially. I think it's 90%. So it basically makes it negligible. So you'll notice how Flynn sent the Razorback in first, dropped the smoke, and then the Vortimers were behind. So this guy basically tanked because he does less damage anyway, because he's not a Vortimer. But he had the 90% damage resistance under the smoke. Meanwhile, these guys just killed everything. Very, very powerful. I'd like to see it either have a minimum range or not affect vehicles, but we'll see. Not sure what other people think about that. Have you been playing with Razorbacks and having them just dominate games? I'm finding that general consensus in the meta is that the Razorback is the best transport right now. You know, pound for pound, cost for cost. So a lot of people generally think we need some sort of nerf. But you see here, the DPS coming out of double bottomers, it's just going to melt a Venom Brood. You need something tougher, something bigger. He's got the Revenant Alpha here, but again, no regenerator armor, so he's a lot less tanky than he otherwise could be. But overcommitment here from Flynn. He's got cocky, you see, he's got way too cocky. There is still a Warrior Brood stood right there. You see, he's tying up the Venom Cannon right now with the Interceptors. Okay, now he's not. What's he doing? What's he doing? He's tying up the Ravener instead. But the Venom Cannon's got longer range and does more DPS than the Ravener can. What on earth is he doing? Surely there's an Electroshock Grub eventually. Like, it must nearly be off cooldown now. Surely. Okay, well, he's not in position there. And the Carnifex is just chopping up the Interceptors in melee. I mean, that's the thing. Obviously, the Interceptors can tie them up, but the Carnifex is no slouch in melee. Even if it doesn't have melee resist, it still does a lot of damage with its melee strikes. As you can see right here, I don't know what Flynn's doing. Flynn is severely capitulating in his micro there, throwing in the BC aimlessly at the end there when all the rest of the fighting has stopped. Seemed very strange. I guess maybe he did the command a while ago and forgot he was moving up and then was paying attention to trying to repair his vehicles. He's getting another Vortimer? No, don't get another Vortimer, dude. That doesn't make any sense. He's got to get Paladins or Terminators now. Paladins, of course, would be way better, as I said, against the Carnifex. They're tankier than the Terminators too, but the Terminators have some pretty good CC abilities to deal with all the rest of the stuff, and obviously will kill things like the, well, all the infantry. They'll kill a lot faster. They got Splash to kill Gaunts fast, and then they do power melee, so they do 30% more damage against the heavy infantry Synapse creatures. Wait, what did he get? Oh, he oh god, he repurchased the BC. I wouldn't have done that, Flynn. I don't think the BC's that important right now. He's great and all. PS, I don't think Holy Armor of Titan has been worth it either. I have to be honest. Doesn't really seem like it was. We'll see. What's your plan here? This is where the VP's been so low for Flynn is a bit concerning. Because if your VPs are really high, you can just delay here till he can get his Paladins out. I really think getting the Paladins out before the BC would have been much more useful. Oh, he's going for some sort of weird orbital bombardment. Oh, he's going for the Alpha Strike. Psych out grenade to suppress, so they can't move. Okay, Carnifex should not be standing next to the Synapse creatures, because when they get blown up here, it's going to hurt the Carnifex. Oh my god, the Carnifex walks on top of the orbital bombardment. Okay, he misses most of it. Well, it looks like the Carnifex and the Venom Brood took out the Vortimer Razorback anyway, and the Carnifex is in a beautiful position here to finish off the Rhino. Just out of range, I think. It maybe wants to fire a Bioplasma into the base. Vehicles don't get the damage resistance aura from the base that other things get, I don't believe. No, they don't, evidently. And there you go, the Carnifex kills the Razorback in the base. Why the hell did he buy back the BC and go for an orbital bombardment? Nowhere near the eco to come back. Yeah, I think you did, mate. I think you did, Flynn. You just got some really weird choices. Needed Paladins or Terminators a long time ago. That BC repurchase at the end was absolutely baffling. Reinforcing the Interceptors, I suppose it was, and then repurchasing the BC drained all of his requisition. He literally was right next to being able to get Paladins. Such a peculiar choice. I'm guessing he didn't realise that in the heat of all the battle. But losing the BC as well was really weird how he sent him in. Again, I mean, micro errors. They happen. But an interesting game, I suppose. I don't know if this is going to be a Sloppy Saturdays or a Thursday upload. We'll see what the upload schedule's looking like. But I hope you enjoyed that one, folks. That is going to be all for me, boy Torpid. This time I am signing out. Check out the Patreon.